2022, like any other year in the NBA, was full of controversy. Players diss each other, fans diss the players for their antics on social media. Coaches lose it because the players clown and diss too much. In the NBA, this is the circle of life. Join us in the video as we have a look at the biggest controversies in the NBA in 2022. Keep watching. First up, anti-Semitic remarks get Kyrie Irving suspended. Kyrie Irving seems to live in the spotlight, and it is always for the wrong reasons. He got suspended this time for reposting a film that heavily leans towards anti-Semitic ideas and views, and then he refused to be accountable for spreading those ideas, and he also didn't want to apologize. Irving had plenty of time to walk those posts back, and the Brooklyn Nets urged him to do so almost daily before they suspended him. He refused. Instead, he doubled down on his comments until the owner of the Brooklyn Nets, Joe Tsai, had finally had enough. He suspended the superstar indefinitely. Irving then got a laundry list of demands from Tsai. There were things he had to do and follow through on if he wanted to make a comeback to the team. Items on the list included having a conversation with Adam Silver, the Jewish NBA commissioner. The whole thing has caused a rift between owners and players. Many of the NBA stars believe this was too harsh a punishment for a posting that merely gave a link to the film in question. However, higher-ups and owners in the league are standing firm. They believe they need to set an example to get the message across that these kinds of comments and ideas won't be tolerated in the league. As time passed, a string of players stepped up to defend Irving. LeBron James was one, and they called out the NBA for the harsh punishment. Irving was eventually reinstated, but he is on thin ice. One more slip-up, and he could be out of there. Are the LA Lakers delusional? Many are starting to think so. If you're curious why, stay with us. We'll bring you that shortly. Then, Joshua Primo was cut from the Spurs team for exposing himself to a staffer. Right after the Spurs picked up the third deal on Primo's rookie option, the number 12 overall pick was unceremoniously released from the team. Primo tried to create an uproar on social media, but the Spurs fired back. They revealed Primo had exposed himself to a staffer on the team. The scandal was investigated, and a lawsuit followed. The former clinical psychologist of the Spurs team and Primo sued each other, but the party settled out of court. It is highly unlikely Primo will be seen on a basketball court again. Now, when the news broke about Udoka, the Boston Celtics head coach, being indefinitely suspended, people were flabbergasted. But it turns out he had been having an inappropriate relationship with one of the staff members of the Boston Celtics. The question on everybody's lips: really? He cheated on Nia Long? It is now clear Udoka is not a family man. But what is he? We'll have to wait a while to see. Many Celtics fans still go to bat for Udoka. After all, he took the team to the finals in his first year. For many other fans, however, his off-court antics put the team in a bad light, and they go under the banner "good riddance." It is impossible to fathom the fallout his dismissal will bring, and it will be a predominant narrative for a while yet. Zion Williamson is earning big bucks, but seems unable to recover from his injuries. It has now been 3 seasons since he's played a game. Stay with us. That's coming up in a moment. Then, the delusional LA Lakers. If you pay attention during the NBA offseason, you'll have seen the Los Angeles Lakers struggling to rid themselves of the unheard-of contract of Russell Westbrook. Last year, the Lakers were abysmal while Russ shared the court with the 2 big superstars of the LA team, Anthony Davis and LeBron James. Russ is ball-dominant, and he shoots volume, but he does none of the essential little things that help a team win championships. So, he's not a good fit for AD and LeBron. No doubt there will be a continuing campaign to trade the point guard. His absurd $44 million contract expires soon. Face it, to come into the season for a $44 million elephant in the room is delusional. It cannot work without major compromise. The Staples Center opened in 1999, and for the first time since then, it has gone through a name change. It is now called the Crypto.com. That happened when the clock struck midnight on New Year's Eve. This is a building that has hosted 9 out of the past 22 NBA finals. It is steeped in NBA history, and the fans are not taking the name change well. Will Kyrie still have an anti-vax stance? He revealed that he was non-vaccinated when the season kicked off. This meant trouble for the Nets because the New York vaccination mandate is seriously strict. But Kyrie is back for away games now, and it is this that is putting the Nets in a pickle. Are they better off forking out money for a lower seed player? Surely this would give them more away games where Kyrie can actually take to the court. Also, there's New Orleans versus Zion Williamson. There are serious rumors about the relationship between the New Orleans Pelicans team and the injured superstar Zion Williamson. The 2021-22 season was the 3rd one in which he hasn't played a game. This is while the Pelicans are hoping to compete in the NBA playoff play-in tournament. According to reports, Zion is not communicating with the franchise. He didn't even reach out to New Orleans when they added a star, shooting guard CJ McCollum, to the lineup. No doubt Zion is keeping his eye on bigger markets in the future, but the Duke power forward would be well advised to try to stay on the court. He will have to work his way back to good health at the Pelicans. Remember, he is still on a rookie contract. It pays him tens of millions less than the possible extension he could be up for soon. If he doesn't get healthy soon, history may not prove kind to him, as it doesn't prove kind to many injury-prone NBA players. We've all known known for a while that Kevin Porter Jr. is tempestuous, but he recently pulled a stunt that many are calling unforgivable. For more on that, keep watching. Then, Nikola Jokic's brothers will seemingly fight anyone. While missing his 30th consecutive game in January and following a November altercation that resulted in injury, Markieff Morris from Miami has sounded off on Nikola Jokic in Denver yet again. After a blindside by Jokic in the Denver-Miami game in November, Morris was diagnosed with an injury to his neck. Jokic was suspended for 1 game, but Morris initiated the altercation and the league fined him $50,000. In a previous play, the league said Morris intentionally crashed into Jokic from the side. Morris was diagnosed with a neck injury after Jokic blindsided him with a hard shove late in the Denver-Miami game on November 8th, resulting in a 1-game suspension for Jokic. The league fined Morris $50,000 for initiating the altercation by intentionally crashing into Jokic from the side on the previous play, a foul that referees called flagrant. Morris's 30-game absence has obviously been weighing heavily on the player recently. On social media, he defended the effects of violent whiplash, and he kept on directing his anger and frustration at Jokic. His words? Imagine having a 300-pound sloppy fat boy run full speed and make direct contact with your spine. I'll be back soon, like I said. Nikola Jokic's 2 brothers were less than pleased with this slur. Strahinja and Nemanja rushed to their brother's defense and called Morris a crybaby. They also said he better watch himself. It's probably fair to say these 2 extraordinarily large Serbians don't fear conflict, and that they will be prepared to fight anyone who says the wrong word against their bro. To see what Ben Simmons' plans are, keep watching until the end of the video. There was also the Houston Rockets versus Kevin Porter Jr. Kevin Porter Jr., the Houston Rockets point guard, lost his temper in a heated halftime discussion on New Year's Day. This was amid Houston losing to the Denver Nuggets. When the assistant coach of the Rockets, John Lucas, challenged Porter, the latter got upset. This was apparently about a different issue. Porter lost his composure on the bench. While returning to the court to play out the third quarter would probably have been the clever play, Porter took his car keys and left the Toyota Center. Now, remember, Porter had plenty of problems off the court in 2020-21, and this behavior by a pro in his 3rd year raises a whole bunch of questions about his ability to deal with adversity and his overall maturity. The entire first week in January was filled with comments and controversy about this issue. The most expensive bench ornament that the NBA has ever had is John Wall. This year, he's earning around $45 million. Next year, that will go up to $47 million. This is for being nothing more than a bench ornament for a franchise bound to the lottery. Wall's contract has been out of control for years now, but after serious injuries caused Wall to be sidelined for 2 years, the whole thing is just becoming depressing. In the summer of 2020, Wall was traded to Houston for Russell Westbrook. Initially, Wall was looking forward to partnering with Houston's incumbent star, James Harden. Harden demanded a trade to Brooklyn immediately, though. Houston was left in rebuild mode because of this, and John Wall is now in limbo. It's a year later now, and nothing has changed at all. Not many teams have the resources to make a trade for Wall's contract, and those that do seem completely disinterested in bailing Houston out of the millstone around their necks. And finally, will Ben Simmons play? 2019 saw Simmons sign a $177,243,360 5-year contract extension. Thus far in the season, he has bluntly refused to play for the 49ers. More than 3 years remain on his fully guaranteed contract, and Simmons seems to be actively forcing the franchise to trade him. There is much discontent in Philadelphia and the rest of the league because of this, especially when the timing of Simmons' signing is considered. Remember, hit like, subscribe, and follow, and keep your eyes peeled for our next contribution.